Two NYPD officers are no longer patrolling the streets after a deadly police-involved struggle caught on camera. Video shows the undercover officers putting a Staten Island father in a chokehold. Seconds later, he falls to the ground and loses consciousness. CBS 2's John Slattery has more from Staten Island.
It's arrest video the mayor of the city calls troubling. Garner was with her youngest child as friends and supporters protested the death of her husband, Eric. The man who died is 43-year-old Eric Garner, who was forced to the ground by several police officers and died of what police say was a heart attack. This woman said she witnessed it.
He didn't deserve it. He really did not deserve to go like that.
The encounter Thursday afternoon was captured on cell phone video. It shows police approaching the man for allegedly selling illegal untaxed cigarettes.
Every time you see me, you will mess with me.
Garner, a father of 6, who weighed at least 350 pounds, was heard telling police to leave him alone.
Don't touch me, please.
An officer behind Garner seized him around the neck, and Garner was taken to the ground.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
A short time later, Garner appeared to be unconscious.
Everybody now back up. It's now going to become a crime.
Despite police saying that Garner had many arrests for possession of controlled substances and illegal cigarettes, Internal Affairs was looking into what happened, and supporters demanded a full investigation. Mayor Bill de Blasio extended his condolences to the Garner family.
Like so many New Yorkers, I was very troubled by the video I reviewed earlier today.
The investigation will center on whether the officer's conduct was appropriate.
Chokeholds are, in fact, prohibited by the New York City Police Department because of the concerns of potential death arising from them.
This is a cousin of Garner.
I'm just numb, you know, just very, very numb about it.
The wife was too distraught to speak as she resumes her life with no husband. On Staten Island, John Slattery, CBS 2 News.
Two of the police officers, 8 years and 4 years on the force, have been placed on desk duty. Now to the Malaysia Airlines jet shot down overseas. Today we learned there was at least one American on board the plane. Families of the passengers have been arriving at the airport in Kuala Lumpur, stricken with grief. Meanwhile, Ukraine's government has released what it claims to be incriminating videos said to show rebels with missile equipment that could shoot down a plane. CBS 2's Dick Brennan is at the United Nations tonight with more now on the crash and the investigation.
Well, here at the UN, the Security Council is calling for a full and independent investigation. But there are some serious questions about what's going on at the crash site where some international observers were apparently not welcome.
It basically looks like one of the biggest, or the biggest crime scene in the world right now, guarded by a bunch of guys in uniform with heavy firepower.
European observers say they were allowed very little access when they arrived in the field where Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 crashed, killing 298 people.
And there didn't seem to be anyone really control.
This morning, Malaysia Airlines defended its decision to fly over the combat fields of Ukraine.
On that particular day, we were not the only airline which was flying that route. It's a common route.
President Obama says the missile was fired from an area controlled by Russian-backed separatists and says the government of Vladimir Putin shares some of the blame.
It has continued to violate Ukrainian sovereignty and to support violent separatists. It has also failed to use its influence to press the separatists to abide by a ceasefire.
The Ukrainian president claims it intercepted a phone conversation in which a rebel commander admits shooting down the plane. But that recording has not been verified. In the meantime, grief-stricken families mourn their losses. There was at least one American on board, Quinn Lucas Shansman, who had dual Dutch-American citizenship. There was also a large contingent headed to an AIDS conference in Australia. And there was one very lucky family, a couple with their baby, who missed the flight.
And it's obviously, you know, something watching over us.
President Obama is sending the FBI and the NTSB to the crash site, and he says he's holding Russia to its word to grant them access to the site. We're at the UN. Dick Brennan, CBS 2 News.
Thank you, Dick. And Scott Pelley will have team coverage of the tragedy coming up in just a few minutes on the CBS Evening News at 6:30, including correspondent Mark Phillips, who's made his way to the crash site in eastern Ukraine. That and more tonight on the CBS Evening News at 6:30. A pilot landed his small plane on a Long Island highway today for the second time in just over a week. 75-year-old Frank Fierro from Lake Ronkonkoma made an emergency landing on the shoulder of the eastbound lanes of Sunrise Highway at exit 62 just last week. He says he had engine trouble and put the plane down on the same highway at exit 61. He thought his aircraft was fixed, but after takeoff today, it started sputtering again.
What did you hear and what did you feel with the engine?
Dead silence.
And tell me what your thoughts are right now.
My wife's going to kill me.
Fierro has been flying since 1956. Police say his plane had been cleared for takeoff. The FAA is now investigating. The Coast Guard is looking for a man who disappeared while swimming at the Jersey Shore. Chopper 2 flew over the area at Island Beach State Park, where the man disappeared just before noon today. Police say the 25-year-old went into the water just south of Seaside Park. There are no lifeguards in that area. The conditions reportedly rough at the time. A witness has said the man told her it was his first time swimming in the ocean. New at 6 tonight, a New Jersey man accused of looking up women's skirts. And this isn't the first time. Hackensack police arrested 34-year-old Chris Cruz yesterday after 2 reported upskirting incidents at the Hackensack Avenue Target store. Investigators say Cruz attached a mirror to the bottom of a shopping cart to look up women's skirts, then allegedly took pictures of the reflections. He was arrested on similar charges at the same store in June of 2011 and in the state of Nevada a year earlier. Actor Rob Brown has settled a federal discrimination lawsuit against Macy's. Brown filed the suit after he says he was falsely accused of credit card fraud at Macy's flagship store in Herald Square. His lawsuit was among a series of complaints by black shoppers that raised questions about security practices and profiling at Macy's and other major retailers in the city. New tonight at 6, the spotlight is on Brooklyn District Attorney Kenneth Thompson. He did the near impossible when he unseated longtime DA Charles Hines. But from a spike in gun violence to a controversial new policy on marijuana cases, Thompson's term is off to a challenging start. He sat down for a one-on-one interview with CBS 2's Tony Aiello.
D.A. Thompson's desk faces a map of Brooklyn, each pin representing an act of violence.
Blue for the shootings and red for the homicides.
Both have increased over last year. Random shootings like the one that seriously injured young Gamma Droyville, and shocking crimes such as the fatal elevator knife attack on a 6-year-old boy.
The murder of P.J. Avito is a case that I will never forget. I take many of these cases home with me because at the end of the day, when anyone is shot and killed or violently attacked, you know, it's something that I ran to prevent.
Thompson unseated longtime DA Charles Hines after a bitter campaign, but he denies any lingering hard feelings from the hundreds of Hines staffers he inherited.
What I get a sense is that this is one office.
Thompson also inherited controversies, including tainted convictions.
I have no comment.
Tied to former detective Louis Scarcella.
It's not easy, but I'm determined to get to the bottom of these cases and clean up this mess.
Thompson significantly expanded Hines's conviction review unit. So far, 7 imprisoned men have been exonerated, but 15 convictions have been affirmed.
It's important to make sure we don't have men in prison for murders that they did not commit. And it's equally important to make sure that we don't free the guilty.
Thompson says a need to focus resources on big problems inspired his controversial decision to stop prosecuting most low-level marijuana cases.
These cases are being dismissed by judges.
Thompson denies any friction with NYPD Commissioner Bratton, who insists cops will continue to bust people in Brooklyn for simple pot possession, even if the DA declines to prosecute.
We have a mutual interest to protect the public and to protect the safety of all. But I don't have identical interests in that I have an additional duty as Brooklyn DA. and that is to do justice.
Thompson believes he's off to a strong start as DA, but the pins on the map will tell the story as his term unfolds. Tony Aiello, CBS 2 News.
Former Brooklyn DA Hines is under investigation for allegedly using forfeiture money to pay a political consultant. Asked about that, DA Thompson would only say it's important to get to the truth of what happened. Relief for some drivers in New Jersey, while you may get some breathing room instead of getting the boot. Plus,
when the weather is inclement, that's a problem. When equipment is broken down, that's a problem.
the strike watch is over, but LIRR customers still have a lot to complain about. Their message to the MTA. And a day of service in honor of Nelson Mandela. How a Brooklyn school honored the icon decades after he visited there. Lonnie?
Well, is it going to be a weekend for outdoor activities or not? We're going to talk about that coming up right after this break.
Football starts here. Thursday Night Football comes to NFL Network and CBS.
In New York State, we're changing the way we do business with Startup New York. We've created tax-free zones throughout the state, and Startup New York companies will be investing hundreds of millions of dollars in jobs and infrastructure. Thanks to Startup New York, businesses can operate tax-free for 10 years. No property tax, no business tax, and no sales tax, which means more growth for your business and more jobs. It's not just business as usual. See how New York can help your business grow at startup.ny.gov.
Empire's whole house sale is on now. Buy 2 rooms, get carpet for the rest free when you pay for padding and installation. Schedule now.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today. You know what's a lot to live up to? Being called the best hybrid you can buy. People start expecting things like legendary Toyota reliability and great fuel economy. And when you're talking about the lowest fuel and operating costs of any hybrid in its class, you've also got a lot to work with. It's not easy being the best, but after a while you realize there's a reason for it. Right now, lease a new 2014 Prius for just $179 a month, or get 0% APR financing for 60 months on Prius. Check out the Prius at buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Stanley Steamer is the first carpet cleaning service to be certified by the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America, eliminating an average of 94% of common household allergens like dust, pollen, and pet dander. For a cleaner, healthier home. Certified. It's our new standard of clean. Call now about our $99 carpet cleaning special.
Call 1-800-STEAMER. Stanley Steamer, your certified cleaner.
Jennifer Convertible's 36-hour sale starts Saturday. For 4 days only, take 36% off the entire store. Huge savings on all home furnishings. This Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Everything's 36% off at Jennifer Convertibles.
The word of the day is connectivity. Connecting me to you and us to them. An invisible string that ties us all together. A string of knowledge and information, experience and understanding. What happened today and how to weather every storm. Connecting friends to family and all of us to amazing people we invite into our homes and into our lives every day and night. Connectivity. It's communication for people who expect more.
This just into the CBS 2 newsroom. Mayor de Blasio is delaying his vacation to Italy by 1 day. He was supposed to leave tonight, but says he will now catch a flight tomorrow so he can attend to city business. There are no specifics about what he'll be taking care of. De Blasio, his wife, and 2 children plan to spend more than a week on vacation in Italy. Long Island Railroad commuters are breathing a big sigh of relief now that there's no strike. But as CBS 2's Carolyn Gussoff reports, commuters say when it comes to the LIRR, they can't live with it, can't live without it.
For Long Island Railroad commuters, the stress of the unknown is really nothing new.
We're dealing with trains that are late. We're dealing with trains that are being canceled.
Their reality, rising fares, crowded and at times dirty trains. The plight of the Long Island Railroad commuter, an ongoing saga, service interruptions and delays through stormy weather. Riders say new trains are an improvement, but it's still a daily endurance test.
When the weather is inclement, that's a problem. When equipment is broken down, that's a problem.
Besides crowding,
dirtiness.
Commuters call it a love-hate relationship. The busiest commuter rail line in the nation is still the best bet to get to and from the city.
I really think that we're very fortunate to have the transportation that we have.
I like it because sometimes it's convenient. If I need to get somewhere, I'm there really quick.
Stress can damage your mental health and your physical health in the long term.
LIJ health psychologist Dr. Jessie Warner-Cohn says commuters often display signs of stress, which can lead to heart ailments, dementia, even affect longevity. She says the anxiety of a looming strike these last few days sent stress levels over the top.